Happy MegaPack Monday. Thank you for joining us. Tonight is a big event. Tesla's hosting a very short notice, kind of surprise event. We're going to be hearing about MegaPack 3, I suppose, big stationary energy event taking place in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sawyer Merritt has been invited. He will be there. And in our panel, we've got Mark from the Tesla Life, Bradford Ferguson from Rebellionaire and Halter Ferguson Financial. We've got Kacey Green, who's also on the Tesla Life, among other things. And joining us as well is Cern Basher. Hello, one and all. Welcome. I'm going to ask your thoughts on what we are hoping to see tonight. And Bradford, why don't you go first? We'll do that. Do that.
Well, I know at least Cern and I are up past our bedtime, so we got night mode on here at the office. It's pretty cold. I got the space heater on and a jacket to keep me warm. So what I'm hoping to see tonight is, there's a rumored new MegaPack. I hadn't heard much about it, but I think they were working on like a MegaPack 3 or something. That might be like a step beyond the MegaPack 2 XL. I really hadn't heard much about that in a while, but what we saw recently from a flyover from Met God in the Wilderness, which is a YouTube channel that does flyovers of Fremont and Lathrop, is some interesting equipment in the yard of Lathrop. Something about like milkshakes in the yard or brings a boys to the yard or whatever. It's one of those songs. But there's when I was there 2 years ago, I saw this weird contraption where it looked like about the eighth of a size of a MegaPack, maybe like a quarter to an eighth. And so I was wondering if they were developing a next generation power pack, which would be about an eighth of the size of the MegaPack. It would be a good in-between product. And I'm curious if that's going to be an emphasis tonight, or if they're going to be talking about maybe a new MegaPack location, a new MegaPactory. That would be pretty exciting. If they did all three of those things, I think it would blow my mind. So I'm not quite expecting that.
Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, 2 years ago, Bradford Ferguson went out to Lathrop and counted the number of MegaPacks being manufactured to get a definitive answer. Where are they at in the ramp? His company has been modeling MegaPack ever since. In terms of what we are expecting, I would like to show this real quick. If I can find my correct tab, it is, I don't know, this one. Nope, it is this one. Here we go. This is what Jordan Giesecke was saying. He was invited to this, but it is past his bedtime. I understand how that goes. Excited to see what they unveil. I'm hoping to see maybe MegaPack 3 potentially skipping some of the transformer steps. Maybe it's got a transformer built in directly, and maybe a smaller scale commercial power pack of around 500 kilowatt hours. Something like that. Who would like to discuss next what they would expect to see?
Well, I'm going to build on that right there, because the next...
You are super quiet, Kacey.
Oh, your auto levelers got me. So the
I'm sorry, Kacey, you're still very quiet.
All right, let me manually adjust it. It has me on auto.
Okay, let's do that. We'll come back to you in just a second. How about you, Cern?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that Bradford Ferguson is considered to be the MegaPack stalker. He's the only person I know who has stalked a MegaPack factory. I don't know if Tesla has a restraining order on Bradford.
This is true. I may or may not be on a list with Tesla security. I didn't do anything illegal, though.
Yeah, no, you were very respectful of corporate property and so on. Yep. Now, kudos to you for the work you did on that. That was incredible. I'm secretly hoping that they're going to come up with a gigapack. We need bigger megapacks. If we're going to tackle this energy issue, we need to go big. But I agree with everything that Bradford just said in terms of a smaller megapack, 1/8 the size. That would make a lot of sense. There's a lot of use for something like that. But we also need something far bigger.
Do you think it would be when they went from the previous MegaPack to the XL, I was surprised that they went over the standard road weight limit pushing them into the oversized load category. Do you think that something like that would be proportionately bigger and heavier?
Well, that becomes the challenge, doesn't it? Is moving these massive things around. So there's a natural, I think, limit to this. Maybe you just start stacking them together. I mean, I think that the size of a truck trailer is a logical limit. To go beyond that, you're just increasing the cost to move these things around.
Indeed. Casey, have we got you sorted out?
I hope so. So the
little better. Just talk loud.
The power pack. I'd like to see that come back because there's a huge gap in between the power wall and the MegaPack non-XL, and the idea of a gigapack is actually kind of cool too. One of their competitors actually does do a double stack. I could see them doing that and staying in a truck footprint and a container ship. But if they would do the power pack, they could get a lot of like small offices and apartment complexes. The power pack was great, and I'm assuming and hoping the only reason they canceled it was volume, because they kept raising the price of the regular MegaPack before it went XL. So it looked like they just didn't have the capacity to deal with power pack, and to turn off Powerwall would be foolish.
Or maybe the headspace. Mark, what are you thinking?
I'm wondering if the reason that they haven't worked on a smaller one is just the fact that there's lower hanging fruit, and it's easier to sell something at a higher price than it is to subdivide it and have it fit all applications, because there's so many orders. Bradford talked about how the factory's been running 24/7, 3 shifts a day. That's because of contracts that are out there and trying to be filled. So I'm hoping for another plant, because obviously if you're running that fast and furious with building these things, there's obviously room to build more and to make more profit. You've got to make hay while it's the sun shining, and the sun is definitely shining on the MegaPack factory.
So a question I would like to ask, and I'll start with Bradford on this one, is Houston. They're building another MegaPactory as we speak. And for those who don't know, MegaPactory, as far as I'm aware, was coined by Bradford Ferguson. And I don't know if he's eager to take credit for it, but I will absolutely lavish that on you, because when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that's not yours. And I looked and I couldn't find it. So I think it is. In terms of Houston, what are you seeing? What are you expecting? You're on mute.
I'm not smarter than Elon Musk. Elon Musk calls it a mega factory, maybe, or a MegaPack factory. With Houston, I think we were hearing something like mid next year when they would potentially get started. So summer of next year. I do think they probably need another MegaPack factory somewhere in the world. I think it'd be good to have one in Europe. With all the trade tensions, I think it's good to be localized. You do have a number of battery makers in Europe. So I think there's a rescue attempt for Northvolt by a couple players. I don't know if that's just patents, but to make the MegaPacks in Europe would be a big deal. I had totally forgotten about Houston. I'm just anxious to see the MegaPactory Shanghai really get rolling. We did get some news this past week that they were the source of MegaPacks for a huge project in Australia. So it's not just California anymore. That's the big shipper to Australia for MegaPacks.
And what I would point out as well is that with the low cost of building one of these factories, they could conceivably put one up in Australia, run it at full speed for 5, 6, 7 years, and then decommission it. It would still be profitable to do that. Anyone have any thoughts on?
Well, they didn't have to shut it down. They could use it as a delivery center or a parts warehouse.
Yes, but it probably, a warehouse for sure. I don't know for delivery if it would be necessarily somewhere convenient.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Nice cheap land.
highest and best use for the property. I mean, with the amount of money you would make over 5 years of operation, you could burn it to the ground and come out ahead.
Yeah.
So it's anyone have any other thoughts on Houston before we move on to the next topic?
You brought up a good point about how they do have plenty of competition, and some of them are actually cheaper, but yet people are still choosing them. Like then you pointed out the last fire we saw was LG went up, even though people were trying to pin it on the MegaPacks.
I'm just my next big question would be, are we expecting anything radical? Obviously, a little bit bigger would be cool. Maybe a little bit higher energy density, I guess, is on the roadmap. Maybe another location, because sure, it would be logical to build these local to anywhere that would have, a demand for them, which is everywhere. Are we expecting anything radical? New chemistry, new overall design, new entire philosophy? Anyone have thoughts on that?
I do. I'm wondering if maybe Bradford could help with this answer, because I'm not really sure. But is there any way they can improve the plumbing of the actual units so that the assembly at site would be quicker? Is there anything that in that forum that Tesla could improve upon that you know about?
I think it's mainly self-contained. So I don't think they hook up the plumbing of the thing on site. So the way I understand it is it's like a server room, and you drop these huge battery modules into the racks, and you plug in the plumbing for cooling. You also plug in the electrical on each, and it all plugs in, and it's all self-contained, I believe. They do have a thing underneath the MegaPack where I think mainly they're connecting it for power. So the plumbing itself, I believe, is self-contained. I think what would be huge if they could get rid of the need for transformers. I don't know how big and beefy a transformer they need for these projects, but there's a 2-year wait for the phase 3 transformers. And they're really struggling to make more. Eaton, which is a firm that makes transformers, they're building a factory in the Carolinas, but it's only coming online in like 2027. So if you could skip the whole step of needing a transformer, I think that would be huge.
I had an opportunity to talk with a hydroelectric lead engineer, hydroelectric power plant lead engineer, and I asked them about their wait time on transformers. This is in Nepal, and he said, we don't have a wait time because India now makes transformers, and China makes transformers, but they, for political reasons, have to go with the Indian ones. It is possible that that the backlog doesn't necessarily hit Giga Shanghai as badly. Mm-hmm. And that if you were to do, and the smaller the transformer, the quicker you can get it. I did try to kick off a bit of a discussion earlier today with Jordan, and we were able to get some people in who had some thoughts. This user, Arrow, said they might be able to integrate higher voltages by using cascaded H-bridge multi-level converters.
I was going to ask when you said small, if they were going to just do like the car and just stack them things.
Well, and this would fit in the case, so that in theory you could, and not connect it to 1,000,000 volts, but 32,000 volts, perhaps you could connect this directly to the grid without a transformer. And there was an additional schematic. This, of course, Egyptian hieroglyphs. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing there. I would love to see if that, does it. That would be nice to have one less step involved, because as we know, there are, the best part is no part. And what we saw them do with the vehicle chargers is make them as foolproof as possible. If you can get power to the site, you can have a whole charger set up ready to go in a day. If they can eliminate some of the steps on the utility company's side, it could be a huge saver. Anybody want to chime in on that? Yes, sir.
So I saw during the announcement of their double stack competitor, they lamented that this double stack didn't have transformers in it. And how are they doing it today? Like what are the transformers just in the box, or?
No, they're outside the box. The box is wired to a big to what looks like a substation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But apparently theirs is easier to hook up to that than all the competition in the article.
I'm guessing.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, but the idea of using something smaller like they did with the car and just stacking them up in series or parallel or both, that would be an ingenious way to deal with it. I think it was you also that mentioned some of the orders are blockers and aren't actually real. So by the time that they get to the front of the line, all of a sudden that falls apart, and whoever ordered with a year out actually might not be as far back as they think they are.
Well, and there was another example when I was talking with the power plant engineer, where he said that the other thing is they don't get put in the back of the line because they're a customer of first choice. Okay. It's a dam. We're building, it's not a large dam with a large reservoir, but it is a hydroelectric plant. We know our completion date. We're not going to flake. These projects are finished. Definitely get us what we need when we need it. So that helps. Whereas with a lot of these AI data centers, a lot of the orders are hopes and dreams based and may or may not come to fruition. I wanted to talk about the economics of it. And I'll go first with Cern and then with Bradford. But my question would be, other companies are not getting the same kind of margins that Tesla's seen out of megapacks. What on earth, how do they do it? And why, with the demand as strong as it is, why do they keep reducing the price? Shouldn't they just keep it higher?
Well, I think they're able to reduce the price because their costs are coming down, right? And so they can keep high margins, reduce the price because the cost is coming down. The other thing too, I think Tesla has going for it, and this is something I'd love to hear more about tonight because they don't talk about this enough, is the AI part of this whole MegaPack situation. Auto bidder, the Tesla MegaPack account on August 1st had a post where they showed that their auto bidder optimized site in Texas was the highest earning battery project in ERCOT North load zone on a dollars per megawatt per year basis. And it seemed to be, a good 30% higher than the next one. So this is something I think that's a value add for their customers. I'm sure Tesla is sharing quite a bit of that revenue with their customers. And so that would make it very appealing if you're a customer for Tesla.
It's very tricky because they're buying from CATL, who also makes BESS battery, the same kind of megapacks, and yet they're able to maybe not beat them on price, but definitely beat them on quality, and in many cases still beat them on price.
Yeah, but then you've got your integration where you've got the auto bidder, and as we saw, the very first one went profitable in under a year, right? So.
And that was with expensive batteries. Yes. That was outrageously expensive compared to, well, yes, it was. And that's another thing to notice, that most of these are using LFP batteries. Very few companies. I think LG still has some that are NMC chemistry, but those are not preferred. They're using them because that's what they have available. Bradford, did you want to speak on the economics of it?
I do think batteries are very profitable for all who partake. CATL, LG, BYD, they all have their own battery energy storage systems where they do some big projects. So it's not just Tesla that's taking down all the big projects in the world. And based off of the pricing, if I recall correctly, it's like, I don't know, maybe $235 per kilowatt hour. And at most, the batteries are costing you $100 a kilowatt hour. But like the LFP batteries are more like $50 a kilowatt hour. So you do have power electronics that go into it. And I'm guessing these, because you're dealing with so much power, the expense of the power electronics is like an order of magnitude higher than normal. So what the power electronics does is it sits between the battery and the grid, and it controls the flow of, you know, how much electricity goes through that pipe at a given time. In an EV, the power electronics sit between the battery and the motor, so they're right here in the middle, and they, you know, fine tune, you know, instantaneously restrict the flow and control how much is coming out of the battery or going back to the battery.
Well, yes.
And then you have computers, but like, you know, beyond that, I'm, you know, not sure, you know, what would cost a whole lot with these big batteries. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as far as I'm concerned, all of that part is just magic. It does look simple. It looks straightforward. You know what all the components are. There's no complicated design. Everything is right angles. It's not the pieces that make it expensive to buy. It is the way they're put together. Ingredients are cheap. The chef's preparation is what makes the meal wonderful.
Yeah.
So with that, they've got basically racks and racks of power walls inside of these things, and as you were talking about with the electronics, they kind of took the AC propulsion idea, digitized it, and actually made it production ready, because it was not. Is that the secret sauce? It seems that, like you guys are saying, that you know, the Chinese, the Indians, everybody should be able to do it the same and cheaper, but they and a decent quality to take away more business than they're getting.
Well, I can speak a little bit to that. I know there was a study commissioned by a large utility whose name I'm certainly not going to mention, that I had an opportunity to read at length. And the study said, essentially, here's what battery storage solutions do. Here's how they work. And none of them work. Asterisk. It's like, well, what's the asterisk? Well, I mean, except for Tesla, those ones work, but all the others don't work. They've got reliability issues. They've got timing issues. They've got lag. They've got all kinds of unpredictable problems, except Tesla. So, well, that's a big except. So what ends up happening is if you've got the first, best, reliable product, the bulletproof one, the one that you don't have to worry about, that just plain works, it ends up being spec'd into future systems. Because what are we going to do? Go back and redo the study every year, every 5 years, whatever the time period is. Every order that comes in until the study's renewed is going to be trying to get the Tesla MegaPack, and it is a success that begets additional success. So it would be tough to overcome that first mover advantage, at least in terms of best mover advantage. A quick note to the audience: if you see the stream come on, let us know. We will jump over. I'm hitting refresh, but it doesn't really schedule the same way on X as it does on, for example, YouTube. So keep us in the loop, won't you?
If Elon isn't in attendance, I would say the over-under is 38 minutes late. So we'll see about that. I think there's a couple things that I think would be exciting. So XAI did a tremendous amount of engineering with their Colossus in Memphis, and figuring out how to get the MegaPacks to fill in the gaps where, you know, these NVIDIA chips are, you know, fluctuating, and sometimes a bunch of them drop down at the same time. So then the battery has to hop in and save the day. I'm curious if that engineering is going to be shared. I'm curious if, like, Power Pack 3 has more of a role to play with data centers or not. I'm also curious if they're going to educate utilities and other potential buyers on the cost savings. So, you know, one of the big things, if you're a user of power, is how much your peak power usage in a given day. And based off of that, there's a surcharge for capacity. And this capacity surcharge can be significant. But if you were to have a Power Pack 3 or a MegaPack, how much does that lower your capacity surcharge? And spelling that out for the purchasers and the decision makers, that might be beneficial for Tesla.
I would. So here's the thing: is a lot of utilities have it set so that if you are the highest peak usage you have during the month determines your rate for the entire period. And maybe it's not for the entire month period, but maybe for the entire week or the entire day. So yes, peak shaving locally can cut your power bill in half. And on a site that's pulling a meg or two, that can be a tremendous cost savings over the course of a month. And that's before you even start thinking about arbitrage back into the system.
Yeah. I think I heard a quarter once for somebody who was really getting the screws turned.
One thing I would love to see today is a product that is tailor-made for hospitals, for example, for very small local, more so to replace generators that would run for only an hour or two, where yes, they will take over that need. If you have a cold storage in an area that may have very brief power outages and you don't want to fire up the diesel, this will cover it. And in conjunction with that, we will only be selling these into places where you will have grid backup potential, where the grid can pull 10, 20% of your MegaPack multiple times a day as needed and pay you for it. That would be a product that I think would fly off the shelves. Not that the shelves need any help being emptied, but that would be something that would accelerate the strengthening of the grid.
Do you think, Brian, that with that type of a scenario where the pack would be smaller, they would still have a lot of potential to sell it? But do you think Tesla's interested in that, when they can put in more batteries into a single pack and then ship them out to these waiting customers? I just wonder if the capacity is there to even consider that at this point.
If the constraint is how many cells you can get in the back door, then putting them into smaller packs at a higher markup would be a way to increase revenue from the same number of wholesale cells available. Yeah.
In this scenario, would they keep their generators and just use them even less than they do, or would that be something that has to last longer than?
I think the generators would still need to exist because a cold storage can't not have a generator. A hospital can't not have a generator. Currently, hospitals have a battery system that kicks in instantly or as close to instantly as a lead acid system can. But then a generator kicks in behind it within probably minutes. But as you know, a generator fire time is not instant.
It's not. I worked at a hospital data center, and that was fun. Like I said, it was not instant. Our UPS was aging and getting replaced, and I think it had about 16 minutes to 2 hours that it could cover before the generators had to be fully ready, and then they took another 8 minutes to turn on and stabilize.
And how many?
In a quick before you could switch over.
And how many deep cycle lead acid batteries did they have in their array?
I never saw that. It was a whole nother room. It was us, the morgue, and the batteries, and I never got past the morgue. So
neither did the batteries.
Right? They never came the other way.
Yeah. So there was a question in the chat. When is this scheduled to start? And the answer is in 1 minute. And what is this event? The answer to that is it is a MegaPack event in Las Megas. What a terrible pun. It, is supposed to, I'm sure, invoke Las Vegas, but it doesn't. It's the MegaPack keynote. And yeah, it's 8 o'clock now, so I guess that means it's starting. Can anyone double check? I'll double check. And the magic continues. I can click on this. It is a photo, so that doesn't necessarily help me a whole lot. Of course, in the chat, keep watching for us, and we will jump into it as soon as appropriate. But in the meantime, like any good jazz ensemble, we shall vamp.
I say we're waiting 20 minutes.
You copied me.
Oh, is that what you said, Kacey?
That's what I said. Yeah, I still say they have a lot to learn from these larger platforms with the live streams and the broadcasts and the keynotes. And as Cern said, if Elon's involved in this, who knows exactly what time? But that's why Mark and I
says
picked 20.
Music is playing now, so I'm going to see what I can
the image
do.
has been replaced now with a moving image.
Okay.
And you could try the Tesla account on X if MegaPack isn't doing it.
Okay. I will do
It does
that.
say streaming on at Tesla. It doesn't say streaming on at MegaPack.
Okay. Is it this?
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Now
Thank you all.
We have the sexy now.
Las Megas. I know it's supposed to say megas. It sounds like you're letting Grok tell your jokes again. And that's clearly a Denny's sign. Is that a clue? It is not.
There's
a Cracker Barrel sign.
The Cracker Barrel sign. Oh, gosh.
Well, there's a 4 in there. Maybe they call it a MegaPack 4.
A 4. I see that. Sure.
Over the G. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the Denny's,
it's
animating. For the Denny's, though, this would work at their diner.
Yes.
A little North Star there.
Oh, the other advantage I was going to say to the smaller packs is there are locations where you can't put bigger packs. If you wanted to put a full-size mega pack, for example, underground or in a parking garage, it is entirely possible you just couldn't get it in there. And that's an issue that I had an opportunity to speak with the regional director of supercharger deployment, and a question that we asked him was, why are there not more in high rises? And he said, we can't bring in a drop in. We have to bring in the old kind where you build them one by one, and it's not cost effective. Where with the new ones, you just drop them in. So that, was a big consideration. So you'd be able to, and also with the smaller ones, you could put them, around the edge of a building where a shipping container would be potentially prohibitive.
Right.
So,
or if you're going to place the floods, you could put it on the 3rd floor or the 10th floor, which should be harder to do with a TEU.
It's tough to say what a smaller one would weigh, though. I don't know. But if you're talking about...
It'd be about 10,000 pounds if it's an 1/8 of a MegaPack.
Yeah,
and now that they have the Tesla diner, you could put on roller skates and...
Now we're thinking.
I would assume it'd be something like the old MegaPack, but more modern, kind of like the new S and X are on basically the same frame, but they're not. They're not.
Oh, so this will have ventilated seats in the second row,
right? Well, not just ventilated seats, but all new electronics, all new motors.
Sure.
You can't compare a 2026 to the 2012, other than as Franz said during the Leno, the last Leno. Piece, he said, same skin until you get to the haunches.
The wheels, the suspension, the brakes, the drivetrain. It may look like a very similar car from some angles, but it isn't. Small packs will help bring them to more charging sites. That's a good possibility. Is that they would be able to keep them in.
If it could be the size of the V3 Plus equipment, or what we've seen so far of the V4 core equipment, that would give them a lot more flexibility. And then also you could slot 1 or 2 in on every site as well, which would definitely help with the with those V4 situations as well, because not all of them can spare a shipping container. But to get the numbers they're talking, it would help to have some battery backing for all, and I would say all those V4s, the native ones.
native V4s. And what I would say, Kathy, is that on MegaPacks for semi-charging, the smaller ones might not help because they would be, you couldn't charge a whole truck with it, but for peak shaving, it could do a good job in that regard.
Yeah. And I think I was thinking about this on the way over. Yeah, I think you almost need a MegaPack for a supercharger site because a MegaPack does about a megawatt. And if you have 10 cars charging, that could easily be a megawatt, like 100 kilowatt hours.
Or the 1.2 for the semi.
Yeah. So like with a charging site, you almost need a MegaPack. So to divide it smaller doesn't necessarily help you a whole lot. Maybe on some slower charging sites, smaller solar installs where it's not like a mega solar farm, it'd be beneficial to have a power pack there. Or if you have like a large industrial building where they've added solar for tax credits or whatever, you could capture that power.
Yeah, like a corporate solar farm for their headquarters.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I would think that you'd want 2 megapacks per semi stall. That was just what I was picturing in my head.
Yeah. It gets expensive though.
Quite bulky and expensive.
Yeah, I think that's one reason why the semi rollout may have slowed down is they realize, okay, we kind of want to have a MegaPack with these sites. So then people are looking at that price tag and they're like, I don't know if I want to invest that much. I'll buy the truck. That doesn't hurt too bad.
Yeah, but the infrastructure became prohibitive when you start adding megapacks to the build.
Yeah.
But then you could do like Pepsi and not even hit peak. You can just shave it. We're gonna do $750 for all of our trucks.
Yeah. Ooh, here we go.
Hello, everyone.
We're going to mute ourselves and
thank you all for being here.
Shut off their
great
cameras.
to see a lot of familiar faces out there. For those joining us online, we're here in the Boring Company Tunnel for our latest product unveil. And right on brand, this event is powered by MegaPacks and Cybertruck. All right, let's get started. At Tesla, we are building a world filled with sustainable abundance, powered by sustainable energy. And tonight, we are launching the next chapter in that vision. We are an engineering-centric and engineering-led company, and we believe that electric vehicles, charging, storage, and solar, and autonomy, they are not separate tools, but they are part of one seamless solution set. We are leveraging our manufacturing expertise. We are leveraging our manufacturing expertise to produce products affordably and at scale, increasing the reliability of clean energy and transportation in our communities. Tesla offers hardware, software, controls, and service all under one roof. We have engineers across the full spectrum of product development, energy projects, and manufacturing. It's really what allows us to innovate and iterate quickly to produce the best products in the world. Now, in 2023, we introduced Master Plan Part 3, and we outlined how the entire Earth could be run off sustainable energies using technologies we have today. In order to eliminate fossil fuels, we need to power the grid with renewables. But to do that, that requires massive batteries. In order to achieve a fully sustainable economy, we calculated that the world needed 46 terawatt hours, or 46,000 gigawatt hours of storage. Now, we know not all of that is going to be MegaPack, but we are excited to continue being a leader in the space and transforming the grid to a sustainable future. But this transformation is not just about renewables. Global electricity demand is projected to increase by 3% annually, driven by electrification, manufacturing, and data centers. AI data centers alone is projected to make up to 10% of the US energy demand by 2030. This rate of load growth hasn't been seen in the US since the early 2000s. Load is rapidly growing, and to be honest, the grid is not growing fast enough to keep up. What's interesting to note is that the grid is traditionally built to handle the highest demand moments. But for most of the day or even most of the year, it is far below capacity. It operates far below capacity. Some estimates state that the grid is about 50% utilized here in the US. And said another way, 50% of the grid infrastructure sits idle and unused most of the year. Batteries are an ideal solution to help the grid utilize more of its own supply. Let's just look at this example. So this is an example load over the course of 7 days, and you can see the grid capacity in the dashed red line, and obviously it is greater than the load, which it should be. Now let's add in a new data center load, which just shifts our entire load up, with the peak now exceeding the grid capacity. So traditionally, this peak would force the grid to install more infrastructure, generation, transmission, substations, just to serve that new peak. It would raise the entire dashed line. But it's an intuitive conclusion to see that batteries could support that peak. And in the process, we are increasing the utilization and the efficiency of our existing infrastructure. So with the growth of renewables and the strain on the grid, the need for storage is real, and we are racing to solve these challenges. Our growth with MegaPack over the last several years has been exponential. We have over 36 gigawatt hours installed across 60 countries and over 2,100 projects. And we have another 30 gigawatt hours projected to come online soon with product that we have already shipped. We've scaled our manufacturing facilities to greater than 80 gigawatt hours of manufacturing capacity annually. But we recognize we still have a long ways to go. We're just at the beginning, as the world needs 2.3 terawatt hours annually to support a sustainable energy economy. We're up for the challenge, but how do we go faster? I'm glad you asked. How do we meet this challenge of a growing energy demand and strained grid infrastructure? We need fully integrated solutions that consider the entire scope and the lifetime of these projects. We need solutions that are secure, scalable, resilient, and that inspire confidence in the technology. And quite simply, we need to figure out how to connect them to the grid faster. So when we started developing the latest iteration of MegaPack, we focused on 3 guiding principles. Number 1, simplicity and speed. We recognize that complexity creates risk and it adds delays. In order to simplify and go faster, we need to figure out how to make it easier further upstream in the project. Number 2, we needed a flexible platform. The grid's needs and the industry are evolving quickly. We need a platform that is able to navigate supply chain complexities, policy changes, and evolving technologies. And number 3, we need to continue what we do best and leverage our vertical integration. We need to enhance the things that we've done well with MegaPack and learn from our past generations of products and projects that we've built around the world. So we're excited to introduce our next generation product, the next iteration of innovation born from necessity. Yeah, all right. We're excited to announce Megablock, the latest evolution in our industrial storage product lineup. This isn't just a new container or a white box with new specs. We focused on this product being a plug-and-play platform, hardware, software, services, delivered as one, all from Tesla, and moving further up the value stream than we historically have. Our Megablock platform is designed for 20 megawatt hours of usable AC energy, a 25-year life, 10,000 cycles, and with an industry-leading round-trip efficiency of 91%. So, what is Megablock? Let's take a closer look. Megablock is a pre-engineered medium voltage block that integrates our next generation MegaPack 3s. We have eliminated the above ground cabling between the transformer and the MegaPacks using a new flexible bus bar assembly. So we've essentially made this part of the project now plug and play. Each block connects to a Tesla system controller, which orchestrates control of the entire site of up to hundreds of MegaPacks. We've combined these hardware innovations with the same power electronics, site controls, software, and firmware platforms that we've used on previous MegaPack generations to reduce the risk and allow for a seamless technology transition. And really, with MegaPack 3, we optimized the product for both mass and energy. It was important to us to be able to fit the maximum amount of energy per unit mass, because mass is really where the system breaks. And we were able to fit 5 megawatt hours of AC usable energy into an 86,000 pound box, 28-foot long enclosure that can be shipped globally. We manufacture it in one place to maintain quality and ship a pre-assembled product anywhere in the world. MegaPack 3 is optimized for up to 8-hour applications, and it builds on our proven silicon carbide Tesla inverters and our fire protection system. The new thermal bay is drastically simplified. It uses the Tesla Model Y heat pump essentially on steroids and has 78% fewer connections, which minimizes failure points. We've also introduced a larger battery module and a larger cell, leveraging the latest in cell technology. And I wanted to talk about the cell and the supply chain a little bit, because obviously that's a key component in the industry right now. The MegaPack 3 is using a 2.8-liter cell. It's co-engineered with Tesla's cell team and sourced from reliable vendors worldwide. And now with Tesla MegaPack factories in the US and China, we will be sourcing cells from the US, Southeast Asia, and China, making Megablock a flexible platform ready to handle supply disruptions, policy changes, and technology evolution. For example, we made sure that the platform didn't need to be overhauled if we want to introduce a 5-liter cell. We have multiple transformer vendors qualified and tested to validate performance from the cell level to the medium voltage level. MegaPack 3 will be manufactured in Houston in late 2026 with a manufacturing capacity of 50 gigawatt hours per year. Megablock works even in the harshest climates with an industry-leading operating range down to negative 40 degrees Celsius up to 60 degrees, which means we can operate from the northern reaches of Alaska and Canada to the hottest parts of the Atacama Desert in Chile and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And one of our core principles, again, in designing MegaPack 3 was simplicity. It's easy to make things more complicated as you're thinking about evolving a new product line. And we wanted to avoid that. We wanted to do what we did well with MegaPack 2 XL, which was build a product in the factory that is factory tested, ship it to the field, ready to connect to the grid with zero on-site assembly. To that effect, MegaPack 3 can be easily transported using a 7-axle trailer with no on-site assembly. And with a higher energy rating, we have less MegaPacks, reducing the costs. And we went from up to 24 cable connections between the MegaPack and the transformer down to 3 simple bus bar connections. Overall, Megablock is installed with 23% less labor hours, up to 40% lower costs, and it's engineered for site-level density. Now, it's no secret that the industry has been trending towards higher and higher energy density containers, but as we developed this product, we realized there was a fundamental problem with that approach. Once you exceed the maximum shipping weight, you introduce risky and costly transportation permits and trailers, or you resort to on-site assembly, installing batteries in the field, validating, integrating, commissioning them, and not doing that in a factory setting. And the metric that actually matters is site-level density, which includes the clearances on the ground needed to install and service your product. Said simply, it's not about what you can fit on your site. it is what you can fit on the site. It's not about what you can fit in the box. This is where we put our focus and our energy, site-level energy density and testing in the factory. And with that focus, MegaPack delivers an industry-leading site-level density. Commissioning speed. Commissioning speed is key. It really is what drives value because time is money, especially to a lot of people in this room. These large capital projects are tough. They require hundreds of people working across several disciplines over the course of months or years. Things that might go wrong probably will go wrong in that process, and you need a partner that's going to stand by you through the whole process. With Megablock, we are targeting to commission 1 gigawatt hour in 20 business days, which is the equivalent of bringing power to 400,000 homes in less than a month, which is crazy. How are we planning to do that? Like most things at Tesla, we are ruthlessly attacking every opportunity to save our customers time. Simplify the process, remove steps, automate as much as you can. One example is how we use simulation. So we like to bring our customers and sometimes utilities and grid operators into a room with our engineers, sometimes months before the MegaPacks are even delivered to the site. And we can take your actual hardware and your software controls, the actual software that you'll be using on your site, simulate the grid at the exact point in the grid where you will be connecting, and run a bunch of simulations, control scenarios, grid scenarios to see, is this going to work like I thought it would work? It's essentially a peek into the future to see if the project is going to work. Our customers love it. It's a great opportunity to sort out different bugs in the software, and it allows you to have confidence that when the MegaPacks are connected to the grid, it is going to work. Commissioning this fast is a great example of how our vertical integration, our engineers across the full spectrum, allow us to serve our customers. So at Tesla, we do more than build the batteries. With most battery OEMs and integrators, you have to go to different companies for different parts. The batteries for one, the inverter from someone else, service from someone else, maybe site controls again for a fourth counterpart. And you can imagine piecing all those things together and being successful can be difficult. What sets us apart and what we're proud about is our ability to provide all your needs in one place, to be your partner through the whole process. We provide hardware, software, service, fully integrated in one package. And I just wanted to take a moment to talk about how this full ecosystem has helped our customers. AutoBidder is our autonomous energy trading platform. It's built, all right. It's built by Tesla's machine learning optimization and software engineers. And in its most basic form, it is buying low and selling high. But in reality, there's hundreds of decisions that need to occur in real time in order to maximize profits. So here's an example leaderboard from ERCOT in Texas of one of Tesla's projects. And it shows us at the top of the leaderboard in revenue per megawatt installed. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is that this site is not an exception. AutoBidder launched in 2017, and we have maintained leadership in every market we operate in by constantly adapting and evolving our algorithm. We're excited to launch into France later this year. We discussed grid forming software at Investor Day a few years ago, and we talked about how it's going to be the future of the grid. And honestly, there's been a ton of momentum over the past couple years. So what is it exactly? The analogy is that it contributes to grid stability the way a car's shock absorber dampens vibrations and keeps the ride smooth. And the reality is you can't have a fully sustainable grid run on renewables without grid forming software. It's what allows us to take the traditional generation off of the grid. And I still frequently hear that this technology is not ready and it's still in the R&D phase. This is simply not true. Tesla has been deploying grid forming software since 2016. We have it operating on over 600 projects. 600 projects across 4 gigawatt hours, with 10 gigawatt hours coming online soon. Here you're looking at Plus Power's project in Oahu. This project allowed the island to start decommissioning and start taking the last coal power plant offline. It represents over 20% of the island's peak load. And recently, and a few times actually, the battery has been able to stabilize the grid when one of the generators trips offline. It's doing that using grid forming software. So it works, it is the future, and we are excited to see how it stabilizes grids around the world. All right, our global service organization, this team is the best. They're the best team in the world, and we're super proud of them. And I say that because over this last year, we had 99.3% uptime on our projects around the world. And that is a big fleet to maintain above 99%. So, yeah. So how are we doing this? Again, it's like everything else. Simplify the process, remove steps, automate where you can. We are using automation to detect issues and to trigger our field service teams to action around the world. We have over-the-air firmware updates that increase the performance and the security of the product over the lifetime of the project, just like we do with the vehicles. And we have an entire engineering team building software and hardware service tools that are purpose-built for MegaPack, making every step quicker and faster and focusing on time. This year, we also launched our Certified Service Provider program. This enables our customers and third parties access to all the service tools that our internal teams have been using for years. This enables our customers, like Southern Company, to take MegaPack service into their own hands. We are excited to bring our full software suite and our service platform to Megablock. And one day, not too distant future, we can see Optimus being a field service technician, reducing costs for both us and for our customers. Megablock builds on 10 years of project experience around the world. It is simple, it's fast to install, it's flexible, and you get all the integrated service and software that you've come to love by working with Tesla. Because with Tesla, and really it's been like this since the beginning of the MegaPack program, the project is really our product. Global power infrastructure is under pressure, and we need scalable and reliable energy solutions that can deploy quickly. Megablock accelerates the ability to solve these problems. The people in this room, you guys are the ones changing the world. You guys are building the projects, you're developing it over the course of a long time and investing your money. We are excited to transform, we are excited and humbled to transform the grid with you. Together, we can deploy the terawatt hours needed to power a sustainable future. And tonight, we're excited to have a prototype of MegaPack 3 upstairs. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has made this trip. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being partners in all these large projects and for trusting Tesla with those projects. Have a great night.
I think I need to at least mute it.
At least.
While it plays the B-roll there.
I was liking that music.
Yes, I'm confident that tomorrow YouTube would love the music just as much and definitely give me all the strikes for that. All right. So first of all, show of hands, who's excited? Yes.
It's amazing how much we all got right tonight.
Yes. Well, 5 megawatts surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
5 megawatts in that box surprises me in a good way. I think that's what I wanted to hear.
Megawatt hours. Megawatt hours.
What really surprised me, the big one was 36 gigawatt hours deployed lifetime, 30 gigawatt hours already shipped that hasn't been fully accounted for yet. Those are
2.8 terawatt hours needed.
Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right?
Well, yeah. But anyone who says, "Oh, well, there's no room left in the market," and all this, there's a lot of room left. And I don't think that captures everything. I think that captures just grid. Today.
Yeah. Well, and maybe even expected grid, but it doesn't count. It doesn't count all the second and third order uses. So that's good. In terms of notes, who would like to go first?
I would just quickly say that 36 gigawatt hours installed. If the goal is 46 terawatt hours of storage, they have captured 0.08% of the market opportunity.
0.08 of the market opportunity. So, hey, little bit of headroom for that to...
Just a little.
to grow. I did like the 99.3% uptime figure, because that means that your MegaPack is only down for 3 days out of the year. Ugh.
It's a bit high when you put it that way,
I
isn't it?
think we can work on that. But if that's industry leading with room to improve, then there you go.
Interesting about AutoBidder being again continually worked on, iterated. Not a surprise for Tesla with their software. They are going to continue working on it, even if they feel it's a good value now. They're always looking for the next opportunity and the ability to make it better. So not a surprise there. And as discussed earlier in this conversation, part of the reason why they are on top and they are the preferred vendor of this type of system is because they have the software chops to do this. And they've continually proved that in every bit of the operations that they have. And MegaPacks is no different.
And not just the software, but they reiterated, I was glad to see that they reiterated that they are the whole package. You don't have to go buy the batteries and buy the inverter and buy the transformers and figure out who's going to wire it all together. They'll do it all. You just give them the money and then a date, and then they'll make it happen.
And they'll make it happen quickly. Rhett says, AutoBidder is why I bought Tesla stock. Daily arbitrage on electrons coming and going, plus long-term maintenance revenue and expansion. And the example I like to give is that when China first started building commercial passenger jets, they had their own 737 knockoff, and it was cheaper than a 737. What it wasn't was cheaper over the lifetime, because between the maintenance costs being higher and the fuel costs, it wasn't as efficient. It was literally cheaper to just pay extra and get a 737 because you would, over the life of it, it'd be cheaper. So who cares if your knockoff MegaPack is half the price if it's going to cost you 4 times as much over the life of it? And
or it's going to delay your startup by 4 to 6 months to 8 months
to 4 to 6 to 8 years. I mean,
Yeah.
there's also that. They've got transformer suppliers up to medium voltage. No mention of, so unfortunately, they're not bringing the higher voltage transformer inside the box just yet.
But it sounded like they were actually
It's outside
doing
the box.
the stacking of the car stuff on the, at least on the Megablock with the Model Y cooling, and then they mentioned the transformers, the technology behind them. It sounded like it was what was coming out of the cars.
Well, I'm sure it's the same design philosophy. Basically, what I heard them say is, we know what an octavalve is, and we're going to use it in everything until we find something better.
Yeah, on the thermal, but on the invert, it sounded like they were.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Unless I misheard.
I may have been making notes when that was said. Let's see.
I think the most exciting thing for me was the transformer outside of the Megablock. You have the transformer and the switchgear, and right next to the transformer word in light gray text was MV. So I think that stands for like up to 1 million volts, which is really exciting. So essentially they could accept power from the grid, and I'm guessing they figured out that the engineering to make that happen. So it, depending on their supply, I think this is really exciting, because this is one of the biggest things standing in the way of more MegaPacks going in. What's slowing down a lot of these projects is transformers and the interconnect queue. And if you can handle the whole transformer issue and pulling it down from the grid, then you're going to be an all-star in the interconnect queue.
A huge advantage over any of the other solutions. I did notice that you remember the ice storm that we saw in Texas just a few years ago, when power generation ground to a halt. The wind turbines couldn't spin. The gas plants were not rated to operate at those temperatures. This is all Texas weather proof Texas has never been to negative 40C, and it has never been to, I forget what the upside
60.
was,
Yeah.
60. So that means these are robust at all temperatures.
Robust.
Interesting to see anyone have any thoughts on the 2.8 liter cell size?
What is a 2.8 liter cell size? Like, are we talking?
That's bigger than a 4680, isn't it?
The 4680 is basically a V8 canister size.
Yeah,
What
versus over a half gallon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what's
800 milliliters on up to?
Yeah, 2,800 milliliter
Yeah.
canister. Or they didn't say the shape of the cell. I don't imagine it's a canister. I imagine it's a block.
LFP brick. Yeah.
Yeah. And they are sourcing from Southeast Asia, China, and the US. And I imagine, and like they said, the equipment is agnostic. It doesn't care what cell goes into it, it can run it.
Yeah.
So if they want to change form factor or supplier, they can do it. And to what we were discussing before, there's no reason they couldn't use cells from Europe or other places.
And the current one is 8 hours too, right? No, not just the MegaBlock.
Well, they have
a 2-hour and a 4-hour current.
2 and 4. Okay, so double the hours.
Yeah, so 8 hours would be less on the power electronics. So it sounds to me like they've downshifted a little bit on the power electronics, and maybe they're actually going to allow for MegaPacks to be charged and discharged multiple times a day. Right now, there's a restriction; you can only do a full round trip once a day on MegaPacks. So if you slow it down to an 8-hour application, maybe that'll reduce some of that. But it would also be less expensive for them to switch from 2 or 4 hours to an 8-hour, as far as how quickly you can discharge that power.
There's a lot of savings in slower discharge and slower recharge. If you look at what Redwood Energy is doing, they start at 8-hour, and they say they really excel in the 10 to 12-hour range, which is perfect for a true overnight application where they charge all day and discharge all night, because the lower power drain, the less demand on all the components, especially the cooling. And then, of course, it can prolong the life of the cells. That's why these are 25-year installations. A question that had come up in the live chat was, why are we doing such heavy ones? Can't they get it down to the 50,000 pounds ish to keep the entire truckload at under 80,000? And I think the answer is because these are going to be moved so seldom. It'll only be put to your site once, ever during your tenure at the company.
And if it moves, it's not going back on the road to move. It's going to move around the same site. And you won't need a permit for that.
It would move around the same site. And if you're running a data center, you could have a true always on data center, because even if the whole power goes out and there's no internet, you could just have one of those Starlink gigabit connections out in the yard and stay online.
Yeah.
So for a number of applications, I mean, I'm just seeing upsides.
The hours are at nameplate, right?
The hours?
The rated hours, is that the rated nameplate, or?
Well, I mean, you can always.
I mean, you can slow it down, yeah. But I mean, what do they consider to be 8 hours?
You can always go slower than 8 hours.
Yeah, but what do they consider 8 hours? Is it 8 hours at 5 megawatts? Or
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know that one. 1 gigawatt equals 4 acres. That's pretty space efficient. 1 gigawatt hour equals 4 acres. That's pretty good.
And again, they discussed the ability that the new MegaBlock will have less connections, can be put together quicker, and gives the operator the ability to to even service it themselves. They're releasing the software. They're going to train utilities or others that want to maintain it themselves at their own site. Again, kind of like releasing the Model 3 service manual for MegaPacks. So that's going to be another plus for others and another step ahead of competitors that don't have the software to do such things.
That also sounds a lot like lean design to me. Using less copper, less interconnects, less everything. Might there be less hardware in there to service? And like literally all you're doing is swapping out packs.
It also makes it, not having above ground cabling, makes it more vandalism proof, more idiot proof, more potentially vermin proof. All of that helps as well.
Yeah.
We theorized a couple of years ago that the amount of service is pretty minimal. Like you could almost do it remotely for the MegaPacks. You really shouldn't need a whole lot. So this makes sense that they would release that to the site owner.
Yeah. They were saying that Optimus could service it, and I was thinking that if Optimus can service it, then it could probably service itself.
In 2019, when they introduced the MegaPack, looking at Tesla's website here, July 29th, 2019, they're talking about Tesla can employ an emissions-free 1 gigawatt hours power plant in less than 3 months. So now they're saying they can do it in 20 business days.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they did say on a 3-acre footprint, so that's 330 gigawatt hours per acre. And tonight they talked about 248. So that's actually less than what they talked about 6 years ago. Now, maybe that was aspirational. Maybe they didn't get that kind of energy density per acre.
Or would it be going from NMC to LFP?
Well, perhaps, I guess. Yeah, good point. 6 years ago. Yeah.
So they're going from 13 weeks to 4 weeks now. So 20 business days is 4 weeks. So that's a 70% reduction.
Not bad. That's real money for the operators.
Yes. And David, the new cells are 2.8 liter. Is that what we said?
Yeah, 2.8. Yeah,
2.8 liters. So they're very bulky cells is the takeaway on that.
I don't know if I believe it. So I was wondering if 2L was like some energy speak for something else. So I don't know if I believe it yet. He did say the word liter later. Is that right? Yeah. So
could it be the modules themselves though, instead of cells? And like,
I think it's the entire module. I think I'm picturing. I mean, I've seen cells of that size that you can get. You can just buy in LFP.
All right.
So,
and we saw these 5 stacks. So instead of the 3 stacks that's in the MegaPack today, we saw like these 5 stack groupings. Overall, I'm thrilled. I didn't get a Power Pack 3 or anything like that, so I was wrong. I'm gonna go cry in the corner. But yeah, I'm really excited. They seem to have solved the transformer issue and have their own transformer supply. Kacey's pointed out, how much they've trimmed down. Cern was right that they would do a bigger form factor, which is a surprise to me, but they figured out how to do it in the same form factor as far as how they ship it, and then they just combine it. So I think this is really cool and exciting.
I would agree with all that. Another thing I wanted to ask about is on the where is it? I had it here.
There's one question, Brian, I had with Houston. So they talked about 50 gigawatt hours.
Right.
Is it Houston is the only provider of this new Megablock, or did I read into that wrong?
My read on that was that Houston will be the first to make it, and that they're not going to stop making the V2s or whatever we're going to call them, the 2XLs. in the Shanghai and Lathrop factories. Maybe they will in the future, but not everyone needs these. So for the applications that don't, and I imagine they've got enough orders that are already spec'd to the old system that they would just look at switching over at that time.
Okay.
I suspect this will be like the cars, where the new factory is going to make the new thing, but since it doesn't have to be in the MegaBlock format, where you can just have one of the 4 pieces, that pretty quickly, as they fulfill the pipeline, that we'll see that switch over to MegaPack 3.
All that sounds reasonable. Mark, you've been quiet for a bit. What's going on, man? You all right?
I'm just thinking about the possibilities of the software is what amazes me. I just think about the ability to at the end of the presentation, he was talking about how they sandbox this for the customer before they even get to the point where they're getting product. They're putting the size, what it would be, how it would switch, and they're providing that utility or owner of the product all that information to sandbox it and identify issues or hurdles that have to be overcome before they even get close to commissioning the product in the first place, which is fantastic. Just imagine being a client and being able to understand where the roadblocks or possibilities are that you have to address 3 months down the road. Like that's a huge head start.
Mike, explain this to me. So you're telling me they receive a simulation of the thing that they're about to get?
Exactly. Yeah. This is a simulation of the actual product running, and they can hook it up to the simulation of what they're going to use it for, and how much they're going to make from selling energy. Like it's all there for them to play with and understand before any boxes arrive.
Yeah, and you touched on this before the show. We mentioned with the AI data centers and how they were able to figure out what they needed with XAI. So this is just an extension, a furtherance of that experience, and now they're able to just deploy this virtual instance at your location, like you said. And
a question I have for Cern and Bradford, because I know you guys have followed this really close. They're saying 91% round trip efficiency on the juice. How does that compare with what we expected? They say it's industry leading. Is it? Is that? I mean, that sounds good to me, I guess.
I don't have any insight on that. Bradford, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, so I've generally seen like numbers above 90% for Tesla. It generally seen below 90% for others. I could be wrong. MegaPack 2XL I thought was like 93% or higher. So this would be slightly worse than MegaPack 2XL, but you have the other benefits that you gain from it.
And interestingly, it's not going to take very many percentage points of efficiency for this to be vastly cheaper over 25 years, because especially if you're moving, megawatts a day. And I don't assume that these will be drained all the way. I assume there'll be 10% here, 10% there as needed for most applications. And especially at a data center, it could remain in a very narrow band almost all the time while it's acting in a fashion to smooth the inbound energy for the chips. Does that sound right?
So I'll also just say this: when they say energy leading, I think one thing that they might be meaning is like among the large players. There are a bunch of smaller players, so they may not be considering all the small players.
That's possible.
I do have bad news. Jesus has said that Bradford was so wrong. So apologies to Jesus for that. Yeah, so that's, hey man, it's how it goes.
Do you think we talked before the presentation about the transformer roadblock, the ability to get to transformers. Does the Megablock solve any of that? Is the transformer any smaller, any bigger? Is there any way that helps the supply chain of transformers?
When I was listening, that sounded like that's what they were suggesting. I'll have to go back and watch that part again, but it sounded like they have a solution for it.
I didn't catch anything that would give me an indication, but this is a little outside of my area of expertise. So guys, in the chat, we're going to give this a few more minutes. If you have any real burning questions, get them in now so that we can address them. The big and important thing to remember is that if you let me pull this up, if you really need to see me, I'm going to be at a live event on Saturday. I'm going to be giving a presentation in Oregon at the Electric Vehicle Test Drive and Information Expo at the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association, oeva.org. I do that twice a year. They're wonderful people, and you get to see all kinds of cool stuff, including, new and old electric vehicles. So that's a lot of fun.
Let's see if I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. It's a different browser. So I've got the post up after the presentation, and they call out proven inverter and fire protection system. They don't necessarily say that they made the inverter. Drastically simplified thermal bay, and the latest technology supply from the U.S., Southeast Asia, and China. 50 gigawatt hours per year manufacturing. I was hoping that they had the details in there. They don't.
This comment says, in the picture, it somewhat looked like one large transformer per 4 cabinets. That's interesting.
But there's also the interconnect in there as well. So the transformer could be in the interconnect.
That's a tough call. To this comment is actually a Detroit Electric, a 1912 Detroit Electric in that picture. Yes. Oh, that's fun. Did I get work done in Nepal? That's very sweet of you. Unduly. I did not.
What do you think about pricing for these versus the current MegaPack? If you buy a gigawatt,
do you get a volume discount?
Well, if you buy a gigawatt, if it's 250 megapacks, 256 megapacks is the gigawatt hour of energy, and it would cost you about $225 million.
It'd be 200 now, so it's 5 megawatt hours.
Yeah, you have fewer.
Right.
The transformer is definitely in the interconnect. It says transformer plus switchgear in their diagram.
The transformer kicks up the price. The other stuff reduces the price. The slower discharge reduces the price. So I'm curious to see how it shakes out.
The number of trucks reduces the price. The number of man hours on site to install it reduces the price. So I would say even if Tesla maintains the exact same margin, this is a cheaper product. Yeah. Good stuff. Let's see. The cost of transformers seems negligible by comparison. Availability is another thing.
Unless, of course, the 4-pack allows them to share the transformer, possibly. With that amount, does it help them anyway by placing the 4 together and sharing a common transformer, or does that transformer have to be bigger anyways to handle the 4 separate packs?
Well, they keep pointing to it right in the middle, so they're proud of that.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. Well, I want to say a big thanks to all of my panelists for joining me tonight. Bradford, thank you for staying up so late. Cern and Mark, also on the East Coast time zone. Ridiculous, unfair, unreasonable request. I thank you so much. Kacey, on the East Coast as well. I'm the only West Coaster here, I now realize. So this is wonderful. It's still early. I get to enjoy my evening, and you guys get to crash. Everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us. It's been a wonderful time, a wonderful presentation, and I think the presentation went well. I think having the presenter give a speech from a teleprompter worked great, and it looked good and it sounded good.
And it was only 7 minutes late.
And smooth too.
Yeah, yeah. It makes for a good presentation overall. So everybody,
that's a good point about less concrete needed.
oh yeah, less concrete.
because,
Might be thicker. No, it would be just less concrete. So guys, if you're catching this on the replay, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it into the comments below and stay tuned. Stay juicy. And I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots when you get your very own Megablock.
Thanks, guys.